Good morning, folks. We're back out at Dad's shop, and it's the day of the week for me to record my video for this week, and I've got nothing figured out to record. So I decided what I'm going to do is just grab the camera, grab a flashlight, and we're going to go out to the side building of the shop and pick out a lantern from out here that we've not had going yet and get it going. So let's walk out there and see what we got. Yep. Alright, Dad's painting this doorway over here. Alright, let's go out here to the side building. We've been out here in an early video, one of the first videos, but give you a shot of some of the stuff out here. I guess we can start at the front end. I'll get this light on, try to make a little bit of extra light up there. Dad and I always say we don't throw anything away. Well, we also collect a little bit of everything. Got lots of antique outboards out here. We did a couple videos on outboards when we first started doing videos, and they didn't go over real great, but I think that maybe before the weather turns bad, we're going to set up the outboard tank and do another video getting one of our old outboards out that hasn't been running over 20 years. And just all kinds of stuff out here. It's piled everywhere. Those are all sitting on top of camp stoves. We got all kinds of camp stoves out here. That shelf on the wall back there, they're too deep. The camp stoves go clear up past the front of Dad's boat up there. But up here in the rafters, we got a whole bunch of lanterns hanging up there. And I was thinking about grabbing, I think it's the light shining up there. There's a 427 hanging up there, but right next to it, that one with the parts safe on the bottom of it, looks like a 220E. Let's grab that one down and see if we can get that one going. Okay, let's see here. You can definitely see this whole thing's been hanging up out there for a long time. I don't know if we've ever had this one going. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s when we started collecting a bunch of these, we did get some of them going, but this one, I don't know. I don't know if we did. If we did, it was certainly then. It's not been, you can tell by the dust, it's not been out of the rafters out there in quite a while. And it looks like whenever it was burned, it was burning very sooty, so it probably got bug nests in the air tube on it. But it also, that soot's on the outside of the glass, so I wonder if it was on fire maybe. I don't know.
That might be just the way we bought it too.
It very well could be. 220E, it's hard to read, but it does say on the side there. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I would say that poor old thing's been on fire. So maybe we better check that out before we get too carried away. Plus, it's got the parts safe on the bottom, so it's hard to say. It might be rusty as hell underneath that parts safe. So let's start there. I don't think I've ever taken the parts safe off of this and looked in there, so there could be some goodies in there. I'm looking right now and I can see that somebody's had pliers on the generator in this thing. What? I don't know. Let's see what's in the parts safe here. Well, there is some goodies.
See a mantle.
There is a package of silk white mantles that's not opened, and a package that's open and has one mantle left in it. There is a tiny little wrench. I doubt that it's a Coleman wrench. I'll bet it's just a little wrench that somebody found and stuck in there. There is another generator, which There's plier marks on that generator, so that may not be a good sign. An extra clip for the pump. That's about what's in there, so. That generator's all stuck together too. All right, let's take a look at the bottom and see what year this is. The bottom is not excessively rusty, which is good. I don't really like those parts safes because sometimes they are prone to rusting the bottom of the lantern. Looks like this is 8 of 56, so 1956.
Oh, that's neat.
All right, well, let's just pop it apart here so I can get a better look at that generator and see just exactly what we got going on here. Honestly, underneath all the dirt, that vent looks pretty good. Of course, it's chipped right there at the top where the ball nut is because everybody tightens the ball nut down too tight, but the rest of it looks to be in pretty good shape. And this poor old thing's hiding an upside down, but green sunrise Pyrex globe. That's a nice globe. Let's see. Yep, the Pyrex on the back is nice and bold too. So that'll clean up good. I'm glad there's no cracks in that, having been on fire before. Got a striker that strikes. We'll leave that on there. Let's see, the up to light, down to burn. Does, ooh, it moves, but it doesn't move freely. And this is what I was talking about. Somebody has been on there with a pair of pliers at some point in this thing's life. So I'll have to check that out. I don't know if I have any generators that will fit this, but I do know we've got plenty of parts lanterns out there if I have to get a different generator, or we can take this other one that's in there. I don't know, that's weird. That's
Put some stuff down in it or whatever and let it soak a little bit.
that might be a steel generator. I know they did make some steel generators for stuff. And that one,
That's probably why it's rusty.
that one may be one of them. It's got, yeah. Yep, it sticks to the magnet on there, so I guess we could try cleaning that up and using it. See what we can come up with here. Alright, well this already got one mantle broken on it. We're gonna have to do a little work on it anyway, figure out why it seems to have been on fire, which that could very well be as simple as it just got flooded when someone's trying to light it, but we'll see. It has some fuel in it. I wonder what that smells like. Oh goodness, that cap's tight, that's for sure. Got these El Cheapo made in China pliers with the plastic jaws on them. They work, oh gosh, pretty decent for breaking loose a stuck cap. That is, the cap's turning now, but the
inner part stuck.
Yeah, the actual cap part inside the two-piece cap is stuck to the lantern. That's probably not a great sign. Ooh. Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, that has old rotten pump gas in it. Too bad you don't have smell-o-vision. That is not good, and it's almost full.
Looks clean. Well, maybe it won't be rusty in the tank though.
Yeah.
Smells like varnish.
Yes, it does. It is stinky. Get as much of it out of there as I can. Yeah, surprisingly, that looks fine. I was expecting that to be much, much worse, but it stinks. I'm gonna go outside and properly dispose of this. Okay, knowing what I know now, I'm just gonna tear this thing down. I want to check all the passages, clean them out good.
Yep. It needs it.
Yep. So, let's just knock her apart quick. You've seen me do this 100 times. Speaking of seeing me do this, Jesus, why is that so tight? God dang. People think that these need to be torqued down for some reason. But yeah, I was starting to say, talking about seeing me do this 100 times. Just a couple days ago, we passed 2,000 subscribers. So thank you to everybody that has subscribed to my channel. And if you have not subscribed, which I know is about 3/4 of my viewers, hit the subscribe button. It's free for you. It definitely does help us out. Get my bent wrench down here. We'll just pop this thing clear apart quick. Like always, probably might as well just grab the lantern vise, put it over on the other side of the bench over there. Just go ahead and clamp this in the vise to get it apart. Okay, you've seen the lantern vise in a lot of videos too, but works good. Very simple, but definitely gets the job done. Yeah, we'll start there. If it's not tight enough, I can tighten it up more, but that might be close enough. There we go. There we go. Dad's cleaning up the globe over there. It's going to look nice. That's I'm glad that that had a green sunrise pricked globe in it.
That's good enough.
Well, I don't see anything up in there, but we'll blow that out good while we got it apart. Now let's see if we can get this apart. See if it comes apart at the clear at the fount, or if it threads apart here in the middle. Just take a adjustable wrench, slide it right down over the valve body, stick something through the handle of the wrench and try to spin it off of there. Well, I think the one that I showed a few weeks ago, the whole thing all the way down to the fount came out in one piece. This one came apart. So you got the top half of the valve and the bottom half is still in the vise. That screw wasn't even snug in there. It was just finger tight. Oh, goodness. Oh, wow, that's tight. Oh, wow, that is. There we go. Doubled up on the wrenches so I could get some leverage without prying so hard on the top of the tank. Because the way that gas smelled, this all needs to be sprayed out with some carb cleaner. That's got the vent cleaned up, and that is in pretty darn good shape. There's a few, yeah, there is a few chips in it.
But it's all right.
Yeah, it is in pretty good shape, though. I haven't even tried the pump yet on this either. I don't know if it's any good. I bet we can make it work, as long as it's not plugged up from having rotten pump gas in it. I guess the fact that it was full of rotten pump gas lets me know that we indeed have never had this one going, because when we bought it, if we messed with it, we would have drained that rotten pump gas out of it. Let's see what this does. Well, despite sounding super dry, it is pumping up some pressure. And the check valve seems to be checking.
Well, it was full of gas, so.
Well, I think first I will clean this up just a little bit, and I'll get some denatured alcohol, dump in here, and I'll let that sit in there and soak for a few minutes while we're cleaning the other parts. Then I'll shake this around and dump it out. This is another one that's got the Coleman sticker and has the embossed in the side of the fount also. She's a little rusty where that part safe's been on there for a long time, but not terrible.
What year did you say that is?
56.
56.
8 of 56.
Neat. Almost 70 years old.
There we go, that's good enough. There we go. That denatured alcohol is good at getting the varnishy fuel dissolved.
Yeah.
Set this off to the side over here, let that soak for a few minutes. Get some carb cleaner out to clean the other parts. Let's pop this off of here. I'm just gonna clean all this up with some carburetor cleaner. While we got it apart and got that spring out, I'll stretch that spring just a little bit. So, everything stinks like rotten fuel. That pickup tube's not plugged up. I showed this pretty recently too, but if you take that straw and put it down in there, spray it down through there, if you see liquid coming out the bottom and out the sides, that means the whole thing is clear and working. If it's only coming out the bottom or only coming out the sides, you got something plugged up somewhere. Wow, that was surprisingly snug. Alright. Had somebody comment and ask me how that tip cleaner lever works. So I'll just pop this one apart and show you. I've showed it in other videos before, but I couldn't remember in particular which video it was. So instead of trying to search through and find the video where I've already showed it, I'll just show you quick in this one. Okay, you've got your little piece inside of this valve here that moves the tip cleaner up and down. The tip cleaner goes in the bottom of the generator and it hooks right in that little hole. What that is I had a spare one here. That one doesn't want to come out, so I'm not going to pry it out of there, but I had a spare one here. That is this little piece, and when this is hooked into the end of that, that pushes the tip cleaner wire rod up and down, and this piece here goes right in there, fits right in that slot, and that is an eccentric on the end of it. It's bent, so when you turn this, that goes around in circles. That slides this up and down, and that's what operates your tip cleaner. So hopefully whoever it was that commented and asked about that is watching this video and sees exactly how that works. Open up this valve, spray some carb cleaner through here. for being full of old rotten pump gas, nothing's plugged up. Everything's open and lets the carb cleaner flow right through it, so that's good. Everything was cleaner and better than I expected it to be for being full of old rotten pump gas. I'm gonna go slosh that fount around a little bit and rinse it out. Then we'll come back and I guess we're ready to start putting this thing back together. I dumped that denatured alcohol out of there. I caught a little bit of it, but that varnish fuel that I dumped out there that looked so clean wasn't really all that clean in there. It was nasty in there, so I'm gonna rinse that a couple more times until the denatured alcohol that I dump out of it comes out clean. Okay, that is much better. I think I did 4 times total, dumping a little bit of alcohol in there, sloshing around, dumping it back out, till it ran pretty much clear coming out of there. That pump is awfully dry. It used to say Coleman lubricant, neat's foot oil on it, but I sprayed it with carb cleaner and it all went away almost. But this was empty. It was just in my little toolkit. It was in one of the lanterns we got that had been in a flooded basement and was all dirty and rusty. But I just used it and sucked up some Marvel mystery oil in it so that I can get down in here and oil this pump, because I don't need to take it clear apart. So I'm just get a little bit of oil down in there that way. Now I got a tiny little bit of Marvel mystery oil in my kit here for lubing up pump leathers. That sounds a lot better. It was awfully dry sounding before. All right, well, I think we're to the point now where we can start reassembling this thing. I've not looked at the cap gasket. I've seen better, but it doesn't look terrible. We'll just try it out. If it leaks, then we'll replace it. If it doesn't leak, it'll be fine. We won't put any fuel in it yet, even though I know that there's no reason it shouldn't. We'll put it together, pump a little pressure in it, make sure it passes air through everything before we fuel it up. But everything's been apart and cleaned, so there's no reason it should not pass air through everything. I guess there's one more thing we have to do. I haven't messed with this generator that somebody's had the pliers on before, and I don't think I'm gonna mess with it much. I think I'm gonna try to clean up this steel generator that was in the parts safe and put it in there. Ooh. I don't think I'm going to try to get the spring out of that tube. I'm just going to spray some carb cleaner through it all and clean it up as best I can. Let's see here. Carefully try to clean this tip cleaner. And stay away from the tip cleaner wire, but I'm going to use this. It's really crusty and I don't want these pieces coming off and going through the generator, because that'll plug up the tip. So I'm gonna shine it up with a piece of steel wool, but I'm gonna stay away from that wire at the end of it so I don't bend that over, break it off. Okay, that's good enough for that. I am going to have to get this nut off of here to use on that generator, and where that's been squeezed, it doesn't want to slide off there. So, all right, I had to go over to the vise and perform a little surgery to get the nut off of that, but I got her. While we're this far apart, might as well pop the tip off of there. I can see daylight through it. Give it a little squirt of carb cleaner, and I'll just spray a bunch through the generator too. This being a steel generator makes me think that it might have been from a wartime lantern. That's I think that's the only time that they used it. So this is probably a 1940s generator that got saved from another lantern and got just thrown in there for spare parts. But it's definitely in better shape than the other one that was on there, so we're going to try to make it work. Let's put this thing back together. Carefully slide the tip cleaner lever back through the spring. Slide the whole thing back up inside of that generator. Thread the tip back on there. Snug it down. It doesn't have to be super duper tight. I feel like there we go. That spring wasn't going as far up in there as I like to see it, but it's in there now. All right, let's put her back together. I may have to throw it back in the vise to get everything clocked exactly the way I want it here, but we'll just start putting it back together and see. I'll want to have this come right around to facing the front there, facing the front of the lantern where the knob is. You got the pump on the right, fuel cap on the left. And I can't turn that much farther by hand, I know, so we'll just throw her back in the vise here quick. Okay, I just took the box end of my custom wrench that I've got a bend on for taking these lanterns apart. Took it to the bench grinder and ground it down thinner so that it'll slide down on there and leave enough room to get a second wrench on there. That way, when I was trying to break that loose and I wanted to pry from both sides, well now I've got a wrench that's thin enough to get 2 wrenches on here, and I can push from both sides at the same time. That works good. The top wrench doesn't go down on there none too far, but I might even grind that bottom one even a little bit thinner. Here, maybe if I go. That lets it go down just a hair farther than even just going that way. Ooh. Close enough. Now my customized wrench is double customized. Alright, let's continue reassembling this. Boy, I should have went a little bit farther with that, but I'm not going to put it back in there. I don't want to strip those threads out, but should have went just a smidge farther, but it'll be fine. Boy, that is stamped lightly. It does say model 220E, but it is stamped very lightly in there. Dad cleaned up this cage a little bit here. Let's see, that need to go that way. I don't know why I took that out of the lantern vise already. I got to tighten that down still. We'll see if we can get it far enough without putting it back in the vise.
I can help hold it.
There we go. That'll do.
Pretty good.
That will do.
Be a nice looking lantern, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the old 220Es are good looking lanterns. And they're good old workhorse lanterns. They're still a very usable lantern. Heck, all of them are. All the old Coleman lanterns. Even back in the 20s, they were very well built and still quite usable lanterns today. Tighten down that jam nut a little bit here just till it holds the cage fairly snug. There we go. All right. Thread burner assembly back in there. I did, while I wasn't recording, I did take it over and get the blow gun and blow a bunch of air through it to make sure there's no spider webs or anything in it, and it was pretty good. Didn't see any big chunks come out. Tighten that up until my hole lines up. You gotta tighten up that air tube until the hole for the set screw lines up right in here, so you can put that set screw back in and hold it in place. Ooh. There we go. Since we took that tip cleaner clear out of there, we're going to have to thread that back in, and we're going to have to make sure that it goes in where it's supposed to here. I wonder how many people watching this video were yelling at their TV screen telling me to put this and this back on there.
Ta-da.
So now
That's fine.
now I get to take this all back apart.
A little squeak in there?
No, that's got to go down in the tank. That's the pickup tube that goes.
Oh, I thought it was the
No.
generator part.
No, that's the pickup tube that goes down into the
Oh,
tank of the lantern.
oh.
So I got to take it completely back apart.
See? You are getting like me.
Yeah. Yep. Got to take it 100% back apart. This is going to be some riveting video for everyone that's watching this.
Cut.
I can't believe I grabbed that and threaded it in there and didn't even pay any attention to it. Well, I'm just going to get it back in the vise. I'm going to have it back in the vise to get the piece threaded back out of the base. Yep, I'll bet there had to have been at least one person sitting there staring at their TV saying, and put that back together first. Don't thread that in there. Another vice grip on there. Hey. Okay, you gotta have pickup tube, spring, the little plunger rod that goes down through there,
Did you stretch that spring?
Sure did.
Okay.
And thread that back into there. Snug it up. Now, thread that back in there. Ooh. Well, since I'm already right here, I'm going to put this back on here where I can snug it down with it still in the vise. Put my wrench back on there and we'll snug it down to where it's clocked correctly the way that I want it. That'll do. Now we're right back to where we were when I realized I didn't put it all together correctly. Thread that air tube back down in there. Well, I didn't struggle with that time, right in the first time.
Notice that cage is nice and straight on this lantern.
Yeah, it is. Alright, now I'm back to where I was starting to say earlier when I realized that I had left that out of there. When you get ready to put your little tip cleaner eccentric back in there, you got to line it up, start threading it in there, and you got to make sure that it goes in place in the that little block that slides up and down. And if it goes in place properly as you're threading it in there, sometimes you get lucky and it just, yep, there it did. It just goes right in and you'll see that little eccentric start to go up and down. So it slid right into the slot where it's supposed to go. If it goes in and hits, doesn't thread in all the way, sometimes you got to hook something on that and lift it up and down and turn that at the same time to get it to fall into place. But that time, they often do, it'll just thread in there and catch as it's going in and start working. There we go. I should have tightened that jam nut before I put that tip cleaner back in there. It just makes it, gives you a little more access to get on the flaps on the jam nut. But we'll still get it here. Awesome. To get at them, you got to come at them from two different sides of the lantern to get it to turn far enough. That's tight enough for me. That knob's awfully dirty. Ought to clean that up a little bit before I put it back on there. Got 30 years of hanging in the rafters dust on it. That's better. Actually, that's there we go. Let's pump a little pressure in here. I'm not even to that. Remember me saying that I thought that cap gasket might be fine?
Small.
Well, I guess we're going to change the cap gasket. Okay, to get this fuel cap apart, I just put it on the lantern, tighten it down tight, and take my screwdriver, break loose the screw. Ooh, goodness, I got it good and tight. Here's the center part of the three-piece fuel cap there. Now what I'm going to do, I've showed this in other videos before, but I'm just going to take this over to the vise. I'll put a nail on the vise, set that right on the head of the nail, heat this up with a torch and just heat it up till it's almost glowing orange, and let it burn that old gasket material out of there. And then drop it in a cup of water to quench it. And then we'll come back over here and pick the rest of the pieces of it out of there. After heating that up and then quenching it, now this gasket that's left in there will come out pretty easily. Take that pick, make sure that all of the stuff is picked out of there. I sure hope I have a cap gasket now. I didn't even look. I think I got a couple left in there. Probably about due to order some more parts like that. Alright, I do not have a proper cap gasket, but I do have a fuel resistant rubber O-ring that fits right in there. That will work just fine. Now I drop my center of the cap back down in there. And I've said this in a lot of videos, but the way I put these caps back together, I just put my thumb in there, push on it, and I tighten it down as tight as I can hold with my thumb. It doesn't need to be any tighter than that. All it's got to do is keep that center part from falling out. Okay, now let's see if that holds some pressure. Well, I don't hear it just leaking all the air back out around the fuel cap now, so that's an improvement. Let's stick the generator back in here. Get the top of it fed up into the hole where it belongs. And at the bottom, you gotta hook that. Get in there. There we go. Get the bottom of the tip cleaner hooked into that little eccentric, then you can turn that down. And that captures it in place so it can't come out of there. And slide the generator down all the way. Tighten up the jam nut. This does not have to be as tight as it was when I took it apart. People love to tighten up stuff super tight on these lanterns. I will go a little bit tighter than I normally do, since this is a steel generator mating against the brass surface. So I'll go a little more snug than normal, but that's enough. It doesn't have to be torqued down. Well, let's crack the valve and see if we hear any air hissing. And I certainly do. Stops when I turn the tip cleaner up. Starts again when I turn it back down. That's a good sign. Now, in everything that I've taken apart, I don't see any reason why this thing should have been a fireball. It doesn't feel like the packing for the valve stem is excessively loose. We'll give it a little snug here, but it certainly didn't feel like that was looser than it should be. So I think I'm gonna fuel this, pump it up, then we'll tie some mantles on, and we'll see if this old girl is going to come back to life.
I bet it will.
All the signs are pointing to it should. Ooh.
It's pretty low.
Well, it's pretty dirty.
Oh.
I don't want to dump all that stuff in my fuel.
Don't dump it on your dog.
Well, my dog needs to move, but
Well,
he's got to chew on that bone
yeah.
right there. There's nowhere else that he could possibly go. There we go. Try to get most of that dirt off there because this funnel does not have the filter in it, so just soon not dump a bunch of debris in there. We'll fill her up because even though this is Dad's lantern, I'll take it home with me. Get a shot of it burning in the dark tonight, and I'll burn a couple of tanks of fuel through it before we put it back in the rafters. That's pretty close to full. I am going to give her a splash of sea foam too. Some people say it doesn't do anything, but I think it certainly doesn't hurt to run a little sea foam through them. Shouldn't need it. We know all the valves are clean now. I've had the whole thing apart twice.
Yeah. It'd be twice as good.
I can't believe I did that. If you were watching this and you were looking at your computer or TV saying you need to put that together before you put it in there, leave that in the comments. There had to be at least somebody that caught that.
I seen it, but I thought you did it on purpose.
Sure you did.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's get some mantles out here. I will use cheapy mantles. I won't use the silk lights that were with it. We'll put those back in the park safe and save them with it. Those old mantles and this lantern have been together for a long time, I'm guessing. They've probably been hanging in the rafters out there for at least 20 years.
At least. By the
And
looks of it.
my guess is that they've been together for a lot longer than that.
I'm sure that was a yard sale lantern that I bought.
Yeah, back in the 90s, every yard sale you went to had a Coleman lantern at it.
And usually they're around $10.
And, well, you don't see a whole lot of yard sales anymore, but you certainly don't find a lot of lanterns at yard sales anymore. More to the antique stores and swap meets and things like that nowadays.
eBay.
Alright, got the mantles tied on here. Let's cut these strings off so we don't look like amateurs here. Throw those on the floor. Dad can sweep them up next time he sweeps the floor. All right, let's burn these mantles in. That fan clear across the shop. Trying to blow out this lighter.
Want me to go shut it off for you?
Nah, it's okay. You know what? I'm gonna try the sparker. It throws a good spark, so we'll try lighting it with that. But I am just gonna go ahead and put it all back together. Actually, let's just get the lighter in there. We'll light it with the lighter for the first light up. I'll try that sparker tonight at home. It's definitely passing air. I can see the flame blowing down.
Just ain't got gas in it yet.
There we go. Oop.
There's some fire there.
Turn the tip cleaner a couple times here. There we go. Well, come on, old girl. There she goes. Might take a little bit longer for that generator to heat up, being a steel generator instead of brass. Good looking lantern.
Well, I'll say. Very good looking.
Burning nice. It's getting really bright now. Nice glow. For as dirty as it was, it cleaned up really nice. Alright, well, I will get a shot of this at home in the dark tonight. Well, it's almost 9 o'clock. I think I lit this back up about 5-ish, so it's been burning for about 4 hours out here. Burning nice. I have not even pumped it since I lit it up, so let's pump it up a little bit. It's got itself a good crowd of moths flying around here, that's for sure. I did use the striker to light it and it worked fine. Well, there we go, folks. Another lantern brought back to life. A 1956, so it was August of 1956 220E. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll probably let this thing sit out here and burn for about another hour or so before I shut it off, put it away, and head up to bed. But I think this is going to wrap it up for this video. Thanks again for watching, everybody. We appreciate each and every view. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this video if you know anybody you think might enjoy this video. And come on back next week. We'll have a video of something here for you to watch.